Hello and welcome to Taheton Farms. We're back with another episode of Taheton County, Iowa, and today we are going to be continuing with our spring work. We finished all the tillage out here in this field, and so I'm going to be going ahead and starting a course play worker off on spreading the lime out here in this field now. I did spread all of these little fields here by hand. Off camera, we were wrapping up one of those fields when we ended the episode here previously, and I think today's job is going to be to hopefully get everything kind of set up and streamlined so that we can start getting into the planting season here very soon. So I'm hoping... Oh, why is this guy not picking up my course? Well, let me try this one more time. Maybe I had inadvertently driven past it here. We'll try this again. First waypoint start. This is not doing what I expected it to do. Well, let me just try and turn this guy around the corner. I think it might just be that awkward corner there that was causing us some problems. No, stop. Well, we're here just having all kinds of problems getting started. I think that grabbed the second headland pass, so let me turn on manual mode here. We'll pull ourselves ahead a little bit, and then I'm going to try this one more time. There we go. Waypoint 20. I think we're on the move now, and this guy's going to be spreading a lot of lime out here. We're going to be filling this quite a bit, for better or worse. So I'm going to let this guy go. Close your eyes, hold your breath. There we are. I've got a lot of equipment stacked up on the backside of our barn over here, and I had been scooping the lime right here in the driveway. I've got a full load here in the semi as well, but I don't think I'm going to dump it here. We might start trying to dump it out in the field. I'm going to see if I can get out there. If I come straight down this, I think I can get out that gate, and we can dump a pile in the field once we get the guy unloaded here. I think it's going to be a little bit easier than trying to squeeze the tractor, or the spreader, I should say, in and out of the gate there all the time. I think the semi, I'll be able to get out in the field, dump it, and turn around. So I'm going to leave that there for right now. And while we're waiting on that lime to get spread, we've got a fair amount of tillage left to do. Specifically, if we take a look at the map, we've got this small field up behind the shop there to do, and then field 126, which is a pretty crazy field. I think we're going to end up doing that field manually, most likely anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of some of these windows, and we're going to take the tillage equipment up here back by the shop. I think we're going to be able to get into that field by the shop. I'm not entirely sure. We've never plowed this field before. And it's not going to take but a minute with this big implement, and then we'll head on down and see how we want to tackle that other field. We might even be able to do it manually. I have played around ever so slightly with the new enhanced vehicle mod here, and I say new as if it hasn't been out forever, but new to me. And I do want to start using that for GPS and seeing if we can tackle everything with that. So we'll be trying that out here shortly. Looks like we might have a train coming. There it is. And it is a doozy of a train. Look at how long that thing is. Well, we'll be here for just a minute while we wait for this to run past. No, quite literally, we're going to be here for a minute. That is, oh, there's the ends coming. And as you can see, it's a long one. So there you go, a more realistic train lengths on this map for sure. While I appreciate the realism, I'm not sure I appreciate the being stuck at the railroad crossing here for this long, but it's gone now, and we can move on with our farming here, hopefully. Come on, the train's gone. Well, this is taking a minute. There we go. Took almost as long as the train going by for these things to come back up. My goodness. I am certainly impatient. Oh, there's a little side road here. I bet you anything this is how we get back to our field. So we're going to follow this along here. And as you can see, it's such a small field. This is going to go right quick. we'll get this unfolded and take a trip around this field. I think that's going to be the easiest way to tackle it. There's not really much sense in creating a GPS course for this field, I don't think, because by the time we take our headland off, there's not going to be anything left to do in this field, I feel like. I'm not sure if I left create fields on or not. We're about to find out. I did not. All right, perfect. I don't think I really want to try and expand this too much right now until we see how it farms. I'm not sure what we're going to plant over here. This is a nice small field, but it is close to the farm, so it's going to be easy to get over here and knock it out when the time comes. We're going to start out with the row crop ready crops for season 1 here, the corn and the soybeans, and we may see about expanding our operations into some other things, get a nice big drill or something on the map. We can always plant some, let's see, we're in Iowa. I feel like there's probably some wheat and oats down in this area occasionally. Not a lot. I mean, it's mostly a corn and beans and hay type state, but we can mix it up a little bit here for the entertainment purposes, I feel like. One thing I do have my eye on is a couple of maps down south. I need to tackle some of the more southern crops at some point. I want to try my hand at cotton in FS22 at least once. And there's a few other crops and such that I'm going to need to knock off the list. Much like FS19, for how much I play Farming Simulator, I feel like I should go ahead and just get all of the achievements at some point. So I'm going to be doing that. We'll probably have a few live streams for a few of the things on the list, like getting all of the hidden things on the base game maps, stuff like that. I might just do those in a live stream for the fun of it. Might be a great way to sit there and have a chat with y'all and knock out some achievements at the same time. The other things that are interesting on the list that you don't get around too much, at least on the US maps that I play, are some of the animal types. I'll need to tackle chickens and sheep at some point. I feel like I've probably gotten any achievements related to cows and or hogs by now, given that we've run 2 very large series with those animals. But you never know. We'll have to see. It's a longer list than you might think. So we're just winging this by sight right now mostly. If we have a little bit of overlap, it's not the end of the world because there is a bit there. I guess I could see if I can remember what the keys are here for this. Right control 2. Do something like that. And then we'll just spin right around here. We're into the next row already. Oh, I got off. I'm not on the right angle. I picked up a little bit of a slant there when we did that. Unfortunate. Oh well, we'll lift this up, and one thing I like about this mod, and I need to adjust the settings some, but it lets me adjust how long the lines stay on the screen, and then they go away after a few seconds. And I always really appreciated that, because when you're turning around, you want to see where you can get into the next set of lines, but then I don't want them on the screen anymore, but I don't want to have to hit the button to get rid of them. And we just spun around here, and unfortunately, oh, this isn't turning off. There we go. Unfortunately, I forgot to put the implement down here and knock out that last bit of field. Let me just grab this manually. This is one of those cases where it probably didn't make sense to use GPS, but we wanted to see if we could remember the key commands. It's been a few days since I looked those up and played with it offline, and now we're back to getting some stuff recorded. So with that, I think we've got this field done enough. I'm going to leave that little spot there just to annoy everybody, and we're going to run down to the other field. Now, can I sneak out here? I know there's a little bit of a hill here, it looks like. as we're coming up here, but it doesn't look too steep. I think we can climb that and take this out on the road, and we'll just work our way right around here to the other field. I've got a small line out in front of me right now that is not really necessary. How do I turn that off? All right, we're coming up to the top of the hill here. I think this gate right here to my right is actually the entrance into this field. So I'm going to go ahead and pull in here. Now, I don't know if this is just the map is still in progress, but what is the point here of the gate when there's no fence right to the right of it? That's a little bit awkward, but we're going to continue on through the gate here and get out into this field. And I am actually kind of surprised. Looking at the map, I didn't think this field was going to be quite as big as it is, so I think we are going to leverage course play on this. I thought it was all of these inlets by the trees were going to take a little bit of a manualness to tackle, but no, there's a lot to this field, so let's go ahead and fire this up. I'm going to, create job, course play field work, open generator. 2 headlands seem to work pretty good for us. Generate course. And it looks like we've got a decent course with some angled lines. Shouldn't be a problem, I don't think. We'll find out, I suppose. So let me get this guy spun around, and then we've got to go manage that dry fertilizer, the lime spreader that's going on. I think it ran out quite a while ago, and we've just been ignoring that, which is not what we wanted to do. Just want to make sure that this equipment gets started here. There we are, and it's off. All right, so I'm over here where our spreader ran out of oomph. I think I'm gonna try and bring it up there into the yard again, just to get around the headlands once here, because I don't want to be dumping in an area where we're gonna have to run through with the spreader again. I should be able to open this gate up, even if it sticks out into the field a little bit. We shouldn't run into it with this because it has such a wide work area. And I'm gonna bring it right on over here. We should be able to get it loaded up. I think I've even, let's not go all the way around. If I leave it right about there, yeah, we're already filled up with the front loader, so convenient. Let's get this all up in the air here. Perfect. That's actually not too hard. Let's not smash into the shed there too much. And I'm gonna go ahead and just get another scoop here. We'll do the same thing. If I can avoid the shed, that would be perfect. Not quite used to driving this thing yet, but we're getting better at it. There it is again. I do wish that the controls were inverted for folding up the high dump part, and I might actually go and invert them in the settings at some point if we're going to keep doing this. With a front loader controls or a bucket controls, when you hold left, it scoops up, but for the joystick, if I hold the button down to get the secondary controls, I have to hold right to scoop up versus left will unload like that. And so I'd like them to both tip the same way. My brain will appreciate it much more if all my tip controls work like a normal front loader bucket. I'm used to driving one of those with the tractor hydraulics all the time. And this is not helping me out. Sometimes I can't seem to get it to scoop more than about 85 to 90% in this bucket either, which is a little bit annoying because it doesn't hold that much to begin with. It's usually only when I have a smaller size pile though. So yet another minor inconvenience that we've been dealing with as we have chosen to do the front loader method here for our lime spreading. I am glad that this is not a job I'm going to have to do every year, but rather, you know, every few years on the farm. But it is fun. It's a nice change of pace here. I'm going to get spun all the way around. Oh. See if I can zoom the camera in a little bit. We're right on these buildings. And get the rest of our bucket full here. We're all the way lowered. All right. It's just so hard to see what's going on from an in-cab view of this. And there we are. We're full-ish and just pushing what's on the ground. Oh man, this articulated bit is weird because we're not on the part that articulates. And so my view doesn't move when we steer. Alright, tip like that, tip like that. Dumping out, perfect, okay. Well, I think in general, I prefer an external camera view. So we're gonna go back to that so that this doesn't take all day, and I'm gonna get the last bucket all scooped up here. Not quite a full bucket, but we'll get it in there. This thing is starting to look pretty full. I'm gonna go ahead and drive it back out and restart the course, I think, after I get this out in there, just because that's gonna let me get the headlands done enough so that we can move this semi out in the field and dump the lime out in the field for an easier time loading. Well, that's the plan, at least. We'll go back out the same gate we came in so I don't have to try and drive around all the stuff. And I have to say, I've always liked how the tractors kind of bounce a bit more when you're driving through a field that's been plowed as opposed to something that's cultivated or in the harvest state. They did a great job with that on Farm Sim. And let me just get lined up here. There we are. Off you go. Looking good. One of the things I like about this equipment is that it has such a great work speed, so we can cover so much ground so quickly here and knock things out. While this guy is getting going though, let's just jump back over here and see how our tillage is going. It looks like we're almost all the way around the field for the first time here on the headland passes, which is going to work out great. He's making good time. How long is this one going to take? 57 minutes, just under an hour to knock this field out, which honestly, not that bad. This is a pretty big field, so I was expecting it to probably take a little bit longer, especially with all the turning around on these shorter rows in some of these segments. And honestly, we might end up taking over and doing some of the shorter segments on our own with some GPS. I think we could probably do it a little bit more efficiently than waiting for Courseplay to do the turning around. We'll find out though when the time comes. I'm gonna at least let it finish all of these headland passes. If we jump over here now again to the spreader, you can see we've already rounded the corner and we're working on our second headland pass now, which is awesome. That means that we've got some room. I can hop over here into the semi and we're gonna see about getting it out here in the field. Now I'm facing the wrong way for what I was intending to do with the semi, but let's see if we can correct that anyway and just spin on over here and get through the gate without crashing into anything. Something like this. There we go. Not too bad. Now I am still gonna probably put the pile a little bit off to the side. I don't know where we're gonna start the up down rows in this whole get up, but we will have to be turning around on them at some point. So if I put my pile right over here, that's gonna do us a lot of good, and I'll be able to have some room to maneuver both the spreader and our other equipment on the headland here. So I'm going to go ahead and take this guy back up to town. We're going to get another load of lime. And by then, I expect the lime spreader is going to be empty and waiting for us. And then we'll also need to keep an eye on that tillage equipment. Now, I know I've talked about potentially modding this truck, or trailer, I should say, to increase its capacity, since one of these doesn't even hold enough to fill up the entire dry fertilizer spreader. However, with how big the fields are and how slow those jobs are, I have found that getting around on the farm here doesn't take that long, or getting up to town doesn't take that long, and we're able to kind of bounce back and forth. Gives me something to do in my downtime while we're waiting for the workers to do their thing. And so I haven't upgraded it yet. I haven't done any modifications. I've been enjoying a little bit of scenic drivery here as we make our way around the map. It's also allowed me to get a little bit more familiar just with this corner of the map where we're running our farm. And I'll get a little bit used to driving this truck where we've got to run our gears a little bit better here. Now, what's funny to me is, if you remember, if you're watching my UMRV series, I'm using the same truck in that series, and I'm having an issue with the wheels being all wonky, but I'm not having that issue on this series. So I'm going to have to compare the settings on these two trucks and see what I've enabled that's causing my wheels to be buggy on UMRV, and just get them switched over to use the same setup here, because this truck is running good and looking good. But with all that said, let me get back up to the farm here. We'll get this lime delivered, and hopefully we'll be ready to load up that spreader again. And we're back up here at the farm. Let's see if we can navigate our yard as we intended. No problems. I do like that this, while it seems narrow at first, it's actually quite wide enough to get equipment through here without any problems. I was worried about those trees to my right there along the fence, but I think if anything it helps me have better visibility to where the fence is actually at, and keep my equipment out of it. Now, I didn't cut that corner as fast as I should have, but again, this is nice and wide, easy to get through, and it allows me to have a more or less straight shot at this gate over here. So there we go. I can see our tillage is already on its second pass on the headlands there, almost done and ready to start doing the up-down rows. So we'll go ahead and get this lime dumped nice and fast. I gotta go check in on our lime spreader and see if it's done doing what it's doing. Oh, we can't quite stack that pile up any higher. I was kind of hoping that we could get a little bit taller pile with this thing, but apparently not. That's all right. We'll move this back up into the yard just to get it out of the way and go find that spreader. It's got to be empty because I don't see it moving around here. We didn't get the whole second headland pass done, which is not surprising because I don't think it was quite full. And here it is out on the other end of the field. So let's go ahead and run this back up to the farm. Unfortunately, I was hoping it would get a little bit farther here and be a little bit closer to where we're set to reload it, so we didn't have to do quite so much running it back and forth. But it's a fairly fast piece of field machinery at 32 miles an hour. It won't take but a jiffy to get over there. We'll go ahead and grab this front loader and get it driven over here real quick. I think with 2 full semi-loads here, we should have plenty of lime to fill us up, and hopefully with a slightly bigger pile it'll be easier to scoop. There we go, 100%. Let's see what's gonna be the easiest spot for this guy to get loaded. I want to move him a little bit closer, I think, just so I'm not doing so much back and forth driving with the front loader. If I put him literally right over here next to the pile, I think what I'll be able to do is scoop him up and then just back up at an angle and be ready to pull right forward. Should work great. Now, we do bounce around in the field a little bit more here. I'm glad that we've got the wide tires on this front loader, but I feel a little tippy right now. Let's see if we can pull this off without having to change our camera around a bunch and stuff. The goal is efficiency here. And this is going really smooth now. We're starting to get it down. It doesn't take all day. Obviously, we could find a quicker way to do this with, what do you call it? Oops. Oh, we already emptied it. I meant to do the high dump, not the other dump, but it might be a little bit quicker using an auger wagon or something. We could go unrealistic and just get the auger wagon with a lime mod like I've got on UMRV and bring stuff out here and just run under the auger. That'd probably be the quickest way to reload this, but in real life, at least, whenever I had seen this getting done, they always brought it out in trucks and dumped it right out here in the field like we've done. So we're always looking to try and have a semi-realistic experience here on Kedrick Farms. It's a balance between realism and convenience, though, and I won't lie, I'm not sure if I'm going to do this for years to come as we expand the farm on and have a lot more fields. We may find that this is too much work and we'll find an easier solution, but for the rest of this year, I'm definitely enjoying the change of pace here. I'm trying not to be in a rush to get all of our jobs done. Sometimes, especially with bigger fields, when there's so much work to get done, I feel like if we don't have everything moving all the time, that we're just not succeeding and that we need to get things done as fast as possible. But I think what I'd rather do is take my time with some of these jobs and have a little bit more fun with them. And if I just need to do a little bit more fancy editing for some of the longer repetitive jobs, we can figure that out as we go. So definitely let me know if there's other cool jobs and stuff that you don't mind seeing me do on camera that you'd like to see more of in the future. However, we got this guy all filled up here. I'm going to get him all the way back in the other corner here and going again on his course play course. Things are going to get a lot easier and more predictable once we start going on the up-down rows. I'll be able to dump piles on the end rows and just kind of keep an eye on him and stop him when he gets to an end row and fill up before we kick him back off, I think is going to be the better plan. So we're not doing so much driving back and forth here. And maybe at some point, like I said, we'll find an easier way to do this with letting auto drive go and refill him at the bulk refill point. Or, hey, maybe we'll put some refill points down on the farm. And that's a good idea. I used to have some really good mods for that. That would be something I think I'll probably look into for the next season that we need to do something like this in. And we will just leverage nearest waypoint again. Should work out great. And while I'm thinking about it, I thought we should just come over here and see how the tillage is doing. I don't yet remember or haven't figured out how to turn the enhanced vehicle thing off. I pushed a bunch of keys and nothing happened, although I think part of that is because I'm locked out of using those controls while course play is going. So the lines are still showing, but I can't actually change the modes on enhanced vehicle mod right now. That's okay. It doesn't bother me a ton, that white line in front. If we just put our guy behind here, you can hardly even see that it's there. This guy's doing a good job of turning around, though, with the 2 headland passes. So I was thinking about taking over and running this job myself, but honestly, he's not being that inefficient about it. So let's just let him do his thing. We've got both of these big jobs moving now at this point, and I think we're just about on our way through the early spring jobs. If we just take a quick look at the map here, the needs plowing, there we go. It wasn't updating for a second. I was stressed out for just a moment. We've just got this field left to do for tillage. I've done all of this area with the lime now. We'll have field 144 done probably about the same time as we get done with tillage down here. And then I'll just have to run down and do tillage on 126, or I'm sorry, do lime on 126, and we'll be set. and ready for planting season, which is going to be exciting. We've got that really big planter, and we have a row crop ready on this map. So I can't wait to see how that looks and works with courseplay. Because we will be using some courseplay probably on the bigger fields. I think I might plant all of these little fields just north of me here that we're looking at towards the shop and the farm. I think I'm going to try and plant all of those by hand. I think that'll be a nice balance of us getting to use the enhanced vehicle guidance stuff and being able to more realistically drive through some of these waterways and things like that and have some hands-on experiences, and then turn it over to the automation for some of the other fields. I do think I'm going to want to pick up a second planter and tractor, so I'm going to have to keep my eye on that. I started us off with a pretty decent sized farm and some good equipment, but as you can see, we don't have a whole lot of money left after we've made all of these lime purchases and different equipment and such. So I'm waiting. I shouldn't have bought the wheel loader. We did buy that. I should have just leased it for the season. So we may end up selling a bunch of that stuff back at a little bit of a loss to free up some money for some other things. But I think this is going to be a great place to wrap up today's episode while we watch this guy wiggle back to the start of the headland. And next episode, I'm feeling like we'll have a good enough handle on all this early spring stuff that I'd like to be able to get into planting next episode. So hopefully you're enjoying the series. If you are, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. That's all for today. Ketterk out.